RED Komodo with wireless transmission from Raveneye from DJI. Is it really a good idea? That's what we're gonna try to find out in this video. For a client shoot, we needed the RED Komodo with the Cine primes and gimbal shots at the same time. The problem here is that this setup does not have autofocus. So we needed this follow focus system from Smallrig. We needed to figure out a way to separate the focus pulling from the actual gimbal operator, because it's too much to handle pulling a focus ring at the same time as you're holding the gimbal. Also, I'm not very much of a gimbal person. I like handheld camera work because I think that gives a more authentic feeling to it. But sometimes you do need gimbal shots. What you normally would do in this case is get a proper wireless transmission system, stick it on top of the camera and the other one on the focus puller, and you'd be set. But we didn't have one and there was no time to get one. So instead, we tried to figure out if we can use the built-in Raveneye from DJI that's built into this gimbal. That's basically a wireless transmission system that ends up on an app on your phone, which also allows you to control the gimbal. Could we use Raveneye and the Smallrig Magic WIZ system in combination? We tried it, and here's the setup. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
I built my part. So everything is connected. Now let's power it up. Check here. The space here between the adapter and the gimbal floor is very, very tiny right now. It's not 100% for sure. So how did we connect this thing? The signal goes from the RED Komodo via the SDI down to the monitor for the operator, and from the monitor it goes out into this little adapter which converts it to HDMI and is powered from the gimbal itself. The adapter needs external power, so we're powering it from the gimbal. The HDMI from there goes into here, the Raveneye. The cable management here is just out of this world. And the image is magically transferred to this app on Isaac's mobile phone, where we can see the image. And I can pull focus using the handle here. It works, but would I recommend it? First, let me go through the cons and pros of this setup. Number one, there's a bit of lag in this monitor. Pulling focus for someone moving along makes it kind of hard to do it without a real-time focus system. But it's okay for planned shots. Number two, the setup time that it takes to get this whole thing together is just... Number three, and this is a big one, a mobile app will never replace dedicated hardware. There's just too many problems with a mobile app. Sometimes the phone locks and it's someone else's phone and you don't have the password. The Wi-Fi disconnects somehow, or it connects to another Wi-Fi suddenly. Also, apps freeze, apps crash. As a workaround solution, it's okay. Better than not having anything at all. But a mobile app is never gonna be my favorite. You might as well use the RED Komodo app. No, you wouldn't. Skip that. But on a more positive note, let's go through what I do like about this setup. First of all, it's kind of light. It doesn't add a lot of weight to the gimbal. It's just this adapter that's a bit hard to squeeze in there, but overall, it's a very light way of transmitting the signal wirelessly. Number 2, because of the lag that I mentioned before, this is the perfect setup for a director's monitor, because then you don't need to see everything exactly in real time. And that's okay for a director's monitor. It's a little bit harder to use for focus pulling. Another good thing is that the app can also control the gimbal. So with a little bit more practice and more time on set to set this thing up, you could separate the gimbal operator from the camera operator completely using this app for controlling the gimbal and the handle for controlling the focus. One person running with the gimbal and one person controlling everything that happens on the gimbal. And it all crashed. To sum this up, this is not for everyday use. It performed pretty good while we used it on set and that production went well, but I wouldn't use it on every shoot. In the future, I might do this setup again, but I will stick to Canon R5 on here, which has the HDMI out already built in, so I wouldn't need the adapter. That would make it a little bit smoother. This setup is just a little bit too much hassle to set up and work with and connect, but I still like it. I think it's pretty cool that you can connect everything like this. And also, obviously, this is quite a heavy setup, so I would use an easy rig and the side handles, and also the cable management would be a little bit better made. This is solely for demonstration purposes. Basically, we connected this bunch of cables to create this wireless video system. I would recommend getting a Holyland Mars instead, or something similar that just works straight out of the box and you just have a monitor here instead. But if you don't have anything else, this is a way to do it. I think it's pretty cool how far the gimbal technology has come during the last 10 years since the first movie came out and everyone was totally blown away. Now everyone can afford to use this, but it doesn't mean it's easier. It's still a lot of work connecting everything, especially with a camera like this. When you need an external focus motor and everything, it adds complexity. And sometimes a better way of shooting is just to remove all the complexity and put a camera on there with autofocus and just go with it. And sometimes you do this. It's up to you, and it's up to each individual production to decide what works best for that environment. I hope this was useful to you. Click the subscribe button and comment on this video. Have you used anything similar? I want to know. And until then, see you in the next one. Bye bye.